Hey guys, I'm back. I'm Mrs. Brain Thing, and this video is going to discuss the 5 classifications of Chiari malformation. And so now there are 5 classifications, but they go Chiari malformation 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. Okay, and so my notes again. And so I'm going to try to read from here because this is from the same website that I would use in my other video, the rarediseases.org, and some, give or take, is from the website, and some is actually from some things that doctors has inboxed me about the Chiari malformation classifications. And so I'm home this time. This video is actually on the same day as my first video, but I ate dinner. You see, I'm more relaxed now, so I'm gonna make this video so I can go on and with my night. So, okay, let's start with Chiari malformation type 1. Chiari malformation type 1 is the most common cause of a syrinx. It may not cause any symptoms and often goes unrecognized until adolescence or adulthood. Okay. Consequently, this form is sometimes referred to as adult Chiari malformation. This type is usually not associated with other neurological abnormalities, although it can cause neurological symptoms due to compression of the brainstem and spinal cord. Okay. So, let's see. So, all that means is we know Chiari malformation type 1 is what I am personally diagnosed with, the most common one. It said, now some people don't see the symptoms until they're adult, if you're born with it. So if you're born with, not a smaller skull than you actually needed to have, you may not have any symptoms until as you grow and as your body develops, and then you start to have the symptoms into adulthood. Now, even though I was not born with Chiari, I still fall under type 1, and I think somewhere in the notes it's going to discuss that a little more as to why I'm still a type 1. But let's talk about type 2 Chiari malformation. Okay? Type 2 is more severe than type 1. Symptoms become apparent during childhood. Severity can vary greatly, and it could cause severe life-threatening complications during infancy and childhood. So Chiari type 2 is that's where you start to see the symptoms during the childhood. That says it becomes apparent during childhood. So this is something that when the baby's born, they know they have it right away. Okay. All right. It says the cerebral tonsils protrudes all the way into the spinal canal. Findings such as hypocephalus may occur. Type 2 is almost invariably associated with a form of spina bifida, frequently presenting as myelomeningococcal. I'm butchering these names. I'm sorry, guys. I told myself I would write notes how to pronounce some of this stuff. Let me spell it out. MYELOMENINGOCCELE. Okay, sorry. Okay, it says it can be a type 2 Chiari malformation can be associated with other significant neurological conditions, including complex abnormalities of the brain. Okay, and type 2 is sometimes referred to as pediatric Chiari malformation. And type 2 also requires surgical intervention during infancy or early childhood. So if you have type 2, you had this surgery when you were a child. Okay, and they said spina bifida and other things are associated with it. I'm looking back just to make sure. Yes. It says type 2 is almost invariably associated with a form of spinal bifida. And just for the research and some of the people that messaged me that has children with Chiari malformation, I find that to be true, that a majority of the time type 2 it goes hand in hand with spina bifida. Okay, let's go on to classification 3, type 3 Chiari malformation. It says it's extremely rare and more severe than type 1 and 2. This form is associated with an encephalocele, a condition in which a portion of the brain and its surrounding membranes protrude through a defect in the skull. Okay, so that's what that condition is, the one that I couldn't pronounce. So let me read that one more time so I won't butcher it. Type 3, this form is associated with a condition in which a portion of the brain and its surrounding membranes protrude through a defect in the skull. So the skull itself is defective in type 3, right? Okay. Often, type 3 is associated with debilitating and life-threatening complications in infancy. So this is another one that we're only seeing in infancy. If you have type 2 and type 3, we see that as a child before, you're even born, the fetus is even born, the baby's born. Okay? Let's go on to type 4 Chiari malformation. It says, unlike types 1 through 3, it is not associated with a herniation of the brain through the foramen magnum. In this condition, the brain is underdeveloped or fails to develop. So, type 1 through 3, like I told you, I'm type 1. My brain herniated into the beginnings of my spinal cord. So, type 4 is the only, well, don't say only. It says unlike type 1 through 3. With type 1 through 3, there's a herniation of the brain. Where this one, there is no herniation of the brain. In this condition, the brain itself is underdeveloped. So it's not the herniation that's the problem. It's the fact that the brain isn't developed all the way. This is the most severe form, usually fatal during infancy. Because of the lack of cerebral tonsil herniation, some researchers do not consider this condition a form of Chiari malformation. So, type 4, you really don't hear about it a lot because they usually diagnose it as something else because the brain itself didn't develop. So, the part of the brain that herniates with type 1 through 3 don't exist in type 4 because the brain itself didn't form. It didn't develop completely. Okay. And the last classification, the most controversial out of all of them, is type 0. Okay? Researchers have determined that some individuals have minimal or no herniation of the cerebral tonsils. Often in type 0, they have a syrinx despite the lack of cerebral herniation. Okay, so remember, a syrinx is that pocket of fluid in the spinal cord. So even though there's no herniation, for some reason they're having a pocket of fluid. They're still having that in their spinal cord. Symptoms such as occupable headaches. Remember I told you those headaches that's kind of like all in the back of your head, like almost like the nape of your head. Can you see that, like back here? Okay, so symptoms such as that headache are most likely due to the abnormalities in the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid at the level of the foramen magnum, which is kind of like my surgical area. I know if I turn around, you guys aren't going to see it that good. But yeah, it's still in that nape of your, the nape of your neck. Okay? Symptoms is likely due to abnormalities in the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid at the level of the foramen magnum at the skull base, although there is often no identifiable cause. So, see, for someone that has type 1 like me, if I were to develop a syrinx, they would know why, because I have a herniation, and so there's a blockage of fluid. So they would understand why I'm having it. But someone that has type 0 don't have the herniation, but they have the pocket of fluid building up. Individuals with this type improved after decompression surgery, and the addition of type 0 as a classification is controversial. It is controversial because some physicians believe that for a diagnosis of a Chiari malformation, there has to be a tonsil herniation present. Okay. Sorry, guys. So I want you guys to remember a key phrase in this that I read. It says, individuals with this type have improved after decompression surgery. Now, they made that note in type 0, but did not note that through 1 through 4. And there's a reason for that, because I really want to wait till my next video to get into that. But surgery for us that's in type 1 through 4 is not going to, I'm not going to say not going to help us long term, but surgery is not a cure, okay? For the most part, surgery holds back a lot of the symptoms and gives us some more time before anything worsens. So that is going to be one of the things I really wanted to get into, because I've gotten a lot of messages, pretty much a lot of messages on that, asking if surgery is a cure, or now that I had surgery, is everything okay? Is it going to be a field of roses? And no. Okay. Surgery is not a cure. Now it says in type 0 that they improve after decompression surgery. So in this type, remember, there's no herniation anyway. They only have the pocket of fluid. So when they do that surgery, they're fixed. But see, when someone like me has a herniation and they go ahead and they crack into the C1-2 vertebrae, and they crack into your skull, that's expanding and giving more room, but that's not a cure, and that's not an all fix all. That's not going to prevent a future herniation or anything like that. So I'm going to get into that. I'm hoping to my last video, my last information video that I'm going to do on this little, I call it a 3-part series, but So, and I'm also going to do, before I go back to work, I want to do another update video, because lately I've been getting a lot of headaches and back pain going up and down my spine. And I don't know if I'm doing too much while I'm on break, or I'm trying to clean, I'm trying to do as much as I can while I'm on break, or if it's just because I'm not sleeping right. But I took my head medicine, and so my pain medicine. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my muscle relaxer also. But I do want to do another update video, because remember, I'll be going full time. I'm supposed to start full time when I go back to work in January. So I do plan to do a video hopefully before I go on. But until then, I'm Mrs. Brain Thing, and I'll see you guys next time.